Jina la Yesu. You've said in your word ya kwamba utatuponya, utaponya Kenya, utaponya maisha yetu. I have spoken to your child, na ninatuma neno la uponyaji. Pokea uponyaji popote ulipo, pokea amani popote ulipo, kwa jina la Yesu Kristo mwana Mungu aliye hai. Sema amen. Amen.
On the next episode of Corner.
Ya muhimu kwanza ni kujua hali yako ya status ya HIV.
Hey, at you can strike because you cannot eat within the school compound. You low-class people have issues.
You thought I wouldn't find out, didn't you? How dare you people mistreat another teacher? A teacher who is only here trying to help you drive out ignorance. Everyone down!
La bila gloves, haiwezi. Rieni kujijua.
Afya bora, maisha bora. Jipime, jiinue.
Welcome. Embakasi Utawala tuko locked. Ungem Utanyahururu Kasuku Massive.
Jeshi ya Nyeri Coast Maua na Kura kwa locked mbaya.
Kigumo Ward na ambao wote wako ndani ya KBC Channel 1.
Akulaliki Wednesday bila the rev.
Mbotela Auta Idara Kitengela.
Kiambu County 33 Pipeline Meru anawakilisha.
Rongai Maboxa pale go down. Karatina Auta Mlolongo wana enjoy show. Lare Sub County Auta Githurai 45. Lanet Barracks tuko ndani yake. Okongo Auta Carnation Maragwa Seti
Nairobi.
Thika wako locked mbaya sana.
Watu wangu wa Nakuru Ngwaro.
Auta Gilgil.
Live kutoka Mazeras Bahati Massive.
Embo Thika Massive.
Siaya Shikambi Kakamega Bungoma County.
Kusia Boda.
Kisumu City.
Malindi yote iko ndani ya the rev.
When I'm in Kenya, I tune in to the rave. Get your mind brave, focus, conscious.
Kenya.
East Africa.
Right.
Keep it locked.
On the next episode.
This is not my son's signature.
Of course it is, madam. If not, Mr. Pedro would have said something to me.
I'm telling you, the signature has been forged. This policy is not valid. I am sure of it.
How can you possibly think of me that way? Just think about how I feel after being with you for so long to be accused of something like that.
You are great at pretending, Juana. What in heaven's name are you doing back in this house?
Mrs. Hortensia, please listen. I can't explain.
I don't need any explanations from you. My lawyer and I have discovered your little fraud.
What fraud is that?
Don't play innocent, because my son's signature on the policy was forged.
In love with Ramon. Yeyote aliye na kinga hafifu mwilini yuko katika hatari ya kuambukizwa COVID-19. Hao ni kama watu ambao wanaishi na magonjwa kama vile virusi vya HIV, kansa, TB, kisukari, miongoni mwa magonjwa mengine. Lazima wazingatie matibabu ili kuboresha kinga mwilini. Lazima wahakikishe wamepata dawa ipasavyo. Tembelea kliniki yako au kituo cha afya kilicho karibu nawe kwa maelezo kamili kuhusu jinsi ya kupata dawa. Pia wasaidie jamaa na rafiki kupata dawa. Dumisha mawasiliano nao na ufuate mwongozo wa kiafya kutoka kwa kituo cha afya ili kujikinga na virusi vya korona. Pata habari kuhusu COVID-19 kupitia vyanzo vinavyoaminika. Piga 719 au bonyeza *719#. COVID-19 inazuilika. Jilinde, linda familia na jamii. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na serikali ya Kenya.
Live from the corporation headquarters, this is Channel 1 Lunchtime News. My name is Edward Kabasa. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. We have a comprehensive coverage of today's news for you. And first, we begin in Ruaraka at the NYS headquarters, where the CS for Public Service and Gender, Margaret Kobia, the professor, is leading some efforts there. Of course, this is the handover of COVID-19 donations to women caucus leaders. Let us now listen in.
Containment, I think it has also called for the needs to have the sanitizers, the soap, the girls' kit, the boys' kit, the family kit, food, because of this containment, and for the fact that we know the COVID crisis has also generated a lot of job losses. I think that's why we need to come together as the women members of parliament have asked us to do, so that we can be able to share or ease out or help in coping with those containments. And for women members of parliament to have thought about how they are going to go about this, and they reach out to the Ministry of Public Service and Gender, I just want to thank you very much. By the time Honorable Alice Wahome was talking to me, we had no idea where we will get the first bucket or even the first mask. But the fact that she was able to say we will need this, then we went to the minister and said, well, how can we help members of parliament, women, to be able to access some of these facilities that we need. So the message there is, a good idea can get better when it is shared, and more so thinking solution-oriented. Not always to put challenges on the table, also do put solutions. So when she mentioned, and we thought, how do we address that solution? We are here, and we are able to give a lot of these, to share this equipment, which will not go just to women. I'm sure when they go to their constituency, both women and men are going to benefit from these resources that are being shared here today. Let me also thank all the organizations that have been able to participate or to contribute towards the event of today, in terms of National Youth Service, who have given 7,500 masks, which are here. We have also been given by UNFPA about 600 kits that the members of parliament will be able to take with them. These kits involves boys' kit, girls' dignity kit, and a family kit. And they have also been able to say, during this time of washing hands, we need jerry cans, we also need buckets, and they have given us about 600 of them. We have received very many sanitizers from Kenya Pipeline Corporation, and I think there's also another organization that has given us some sanitizers, which you'll be able to take to the constituencies. The Women Enterprise Fund has given us also masks and some sanitizers that we'll be able to take with you. And I'm sure crew here saying they want to partner with us to start cash transfer to the most vulnerable. So I would also add my voice from the State Department of Gender and the ministry, that as you go with these resources that have been shared by this organization, give them to the most vulnerable. And you are the person who knows who are the most vulnerable.
That is the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Public Service and Gender, Professor Margaret Kobia, leading some efforts to combat the spread of COVID-19 at the NYS headquarters in Ruaraka. Let us now cross over to the Railways Club, where there is some trouble brewing in the Kenya National Union of Nurses. Of course, this is in regards to controversy surrounding the Secretary General, Seth Panyako. Let us now listen in.
Secondly, are you people interested in running for the same post when you call for this election?
We have tried to engage him. We have even written letters to him to call for National Governing Council, but he has refused. And I am not interested in being a Secretary General. I'm not interested in that position, but my interest is better leadership for nurses. That's all. I'm not interested in the position.
Also, to add on the same, as nurses who are actually acting on this capacity, we are not interested in being the General Secretary. Our interest is sanity in the union, so that nurses can be served, so that nurses can achieve, so that nurses can get the value of their money, their subscriptions. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Available to you in our subsequent bulletins. Let us now take a look at other matters, where Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala says his push to have the Amani National Congress Party adopt a national face is the primary reason for his aborted expulsion from the party. The register of political parties on Tuesday revoked Malala's expulsion from ANC, citing inconsistencies in the process.
Following the refusal by the Register of Political Parties to execute the expulsion of Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala from ANC, the lawmaker has once again hit at the party.
Ile jambo ambayo inafanya kwamba tunakosana kidogo na wanachama wa ANC ni kwa sababu sisi tumeleta mwamko mpya katika chama. Tumesema kwamba hatuwezi kuwa kwa chama ambacho kiko tu na Waluya peke yake. Hii chama inafaa ikuwe chama ya kitaifa.
The Register of Political Parties and Neritu said the decision to expel Malala was inconsistent with the party's constitution, since it was not done within stipulated timelines.
We are saying, Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula, if you want to become president, my humble advice, endeni mutembee kwa Wamasai, endeni mutembee kwa Wameru, endeni mutembee kule Coast Province. That is my humble advice to you. We don't want you to vie for presidency. Ndio tena upate kura 1200, 1300. ambazo ulipata 2013.
Malala supporters celebrated the decision by the Register of Political Parties, calling for progressive dialogue within ANC.
But inaonekana walimbandua wasipofuata sheria. Kwa hivyo inamaanisha chama cha ANC akifuati sheria. Tulikuwa tayari kwa uchaguzi, tulikuwa tayari kurudia uchaguzi na tungelimpitisha, si tu kupigia chama kura. Sisi tulipigia Cleophas Malala kura.
So kama kweli Musalia anataka kuwa president wa nchi hii, na yeye anasema yeye ndio alternative government na tunamuona kama alternative government, lazima akuwe surrounded na wale watu ambao wanaweza mpa mawaidha ambayo haitakuwa inamwangusha kila saa. Unaona wamengangana na Osotsi bado anakula mshahara na mwaka inaendelea ikiisha.
Kwa Mudavadi, tafadhali wachana na Cleophas Malala. Huyu ni kijana ambaye tunakuza, kijana ambaye tunataka miaka zijazo awe kiongozi kama wewe.
Religious leaders in Kajiado County are leading fumigation of places of worship in the area ahead of reopening on Tuesday next week, led by Kitengela Pastors Fellowship patron Bishop Mohammed Kamwaro of Deliverance Church. The clergy reiterated readiness to comply with the government's directive on limiting the number of worshippers to 100 as guided.
It has been a beehive of activities for most worship sanctuaries days after the head of state ordered phased reopening. The Interfaith Council on Tuesday announced a reopening of churches starting Tuesday, the 14th of July, with strict rules. In readiness for the big day, religious leaders in Kajiado County are not leaving anything to chance. Fumigation rearrangements of spaces is their top agenda now.
Hata sisi kanisani tumeweza kuweka hizo regulations zote. Tunapofanya kazi pamoja na Kajiado County na medical team ya Kajiado County yetu wamekuja, wameweza kustakaza kanisa ile na wanasema fumigation, alafu pia wameweza kuangalia zile guidelines tunahitaji kuziweka, ile mita 1.5 kwa mtu mwingine. Tumeweza kuweka hizo guideline na wametuambia kwamba sasa tuko sawa na kanisa linaweza kuendelea na ibada zake.
And this my prayer, that as we open, we must strategize as Kenyans and be able to look forward and be able to become our brother's keeper so that we don't spread the coronavirus. Number 2.
Led by their patron, Kitengela Pastors Fellowship commits to protect their congregants both spiritually and from the deadly coronavirus.
The church is so much ready to adhere to all the regulations which are being and the protocols which are being put in place. And so we really want to say thank you so much to the government of Kenya for considering the church to be alive.
We believe that with time, the government will consider to increase the number of the congregation that will be meeting, and also to look at the issue of age. We have been told there is a restriction of age, and it is our hope, because also the small children need to be taken care of spiritually.
According to the president's directive, places of worship will be allowed to conduct more than one service, but limited to a maximum of 100 persons per session. Congregants must wear masks and observe 1.5 meter social distancing. Duration of worship services should be 60 minutes. Thermoguns will be used to test worshippers as they come in. Children below the age of 13 years and those above 58 years will not be admitted for services. In Nakuru County, over 60,000 food handlers are set to be subjected to mandatory coronavirus testing ahead of the reopening of the hotels in the area.
This is happening all over the county. So today it's just that it's our turn as Naivasha sub-county to host it. It will go to other sub-counties as well. And then based on the results they'll get, they will give directions on how else to go, how frequently, how many more to test, where to focus on.
We are hoping with the time we will do a lot of expansion as far as the Naivasha is concerned. Understand his governor, Ali Kenyaju, is also visiting us very soon, I think in the course of this week, to meditate on how we can try to expand in Naivasha so that we can be able to hold create more isolation room and also
facilities
prepared for in case of any eventuality.
Elsewhere, Baringo North legislator William Cheptumo is urging Kenyans not to relax in the ongoing fight against COVID-19 disease. He was speaking in Molo, Nakuru County, during the funeral of late Elisha Chesina, a former land commissioner.
Let us not now say we can go to Nairobi, Mombasa. Let us still be responsible about our health. It is very, very important.
Purity Museo, Channel 1 News.
Let's now cross over to the Delta House, where the Council of Governors is issuing its update on the preparedness of counties to deal with the coronavirus. Now speaking is the COG chairperson, who is also the Kakamega Governor, Wycliffe Oparanya. Let us now listen in.
Staff have been recruited and already reported to their workstation in counties, except in 5 counties where they are finalizing the process. However, by the end of July, a cumulative total of 9,858 health workers will be on board. Fellow Kenyans, I wish to note that counties that have been dealing with COVID-19 from March 2020 have shared their lessons on how to confront the disease and minimize the mortality rate while increasing the rate of recovery. In today's statement, I will share with you and other county governments lessons learned by county governments who have dealt with the pandemic first. Lesson 1, training of health workers. Training of health workers has proved to be an effective measure toward the fighting against the coronavirus. County government should embrace continuous training of health workers as well as community health volunteers on the management and response to COVID-19. Lesson 2, provision of adequate quarantine and isolation facilities. Functional quarantine and isolation facilities are critical in addressing the pandemic. This has enabled effective response to the pandemic. In dealing with the expected upsurge, all county governments should up their game in ensuring these facilities are properly running and expedite the completion of the minimum 300-bed capacity. Further, each county needs to pay attention to setting up of a functional ICU and HDU to respond to COVID-19 cases, separate from the normal ICU and HDU beds to care for patients in critical condition. Number 3, strengthening of county-specific health systems and facilities. From experience, it is emerging that those who fall sick from the pandemic will most likely be attended to in the counties where this happens. This being the case, it is important that each county strengthens its systems and ensure the facilities can provide the requisite services to respond to the disease as modeled by the Ministry of Health experts. Lesson 4, ensuring availability of pharmaceuticals and non-pharmaceutical supplies. Availability of essential medical supplies is key in responding to the virus. Medicine must be available especially for individuals with underlying medical condition. In addition, availability of non-pharmaceuticals of good quality is key in protecting the healthcare workers who will in turn confidently attend to COVID-19 patients as it reduces the risk of transmission of the virus. Lesson 5, ensuring preventive and promotive healthcare services. Capitalizing on preventive and promotive healthcare services through community health platform is a key measure in stemming the spread of the virus. We therefore urge the members of the public to continue implementing the guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health. Lesson 6, continuous engagement of communities and advocacy on COVID-19 prevention measures. Community engagement is an enabler to effective contact tracing and capping the spread of the virus. Community sensitization and advocacy is thus paramount in quick response to contact tracing. Lesson 7, strengthening disease surveillance system. Nyumba Kumi initiative has proved to be so effective in disease surveillance system. Therefore, counties need to utilize this system for early detection, trace, and response. This system proves to be effective in generating quality data for timely public health intervention. Lesson 8, enhancing testing capacity of COVID-19. It is important to undertake continuous testing, especially for healthcare workers. County governments have continued to test workers attending COVID-19 patients after every 2 weeks. Lesson 9, adequate allocation and mobilization of additional resources to support COVID-19 response interventions. The resources at the disposal of county governments are not adequate to enable waging a war to confront this pandemic. Therefore, county governments must partner with development partners, private sector, and other stakeholders to push their response measures. Delay in the disbursement of funds can be catastrophic and precipitate a policy kind of situation in dealing with COVID-19. We therefore urge the national government to ensure the disbursement to counties are effected without undue delay. Challenges: ignorant of COVID-19. Number 1, the number has now proven to be to all and sundry that the virus is here with us and we must exercise caution. My fellow politicians, the political class has been singled out by the media as the most unconcerned and reckless in this fight, second only to the youth. I urge all politicians, including myself, to lead by example because we are not immune by virtue of being politicians. Let us support the president by keeping safe. We have done it before and we can do it now. To all Kenyans, I once again reiterate that what has been said before. Number one, wear your mask correctly as it reduces the risk of infection by 80%. Maintain social distance as it reduces risk of transmission by 75%. If you need not go out, please stay and work from home as it reduces the risk by 100%. Let us ensure strict adherence to the guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health for us to win the war. There has been a challenge of dissemination of information to the public on COVID-19. As we embrace home-based care, I urge all county governments to ensure that the training of home-based care starts from household level to those affected by the virus will be taken care at that level. It is therefore paramount that every household is trained in a language they understand. Please note, caregiver, even at household level, are both men and women. I urge all the FM stations, especially vernacular stations, to take this challenge and train Kenyans on home-based care the same way students are being tutored. Dedicate 1 hour each week as FM stations and disseminate information to Kenyans in a language that they understand best. County governments are ready to partner with you to provide the information and attend your programs. Non-availability of testing cartridges, lack of infrastructure for mass testing has obscured the true reflection of the spread of the virus, therefore posing a risk of increased community transmission. Despite the availability of general expert machines in all counties, testing has been hindered due to lack of cartridges. We cannot contain this virus if we do not expand our testing. Contradictory results. The results have emerged that are contradictory in an immediate risk and a rollback on the fight against the virus. It has made the citizens begin to think that their myth is true. This needs to be urgently addressed. As I conclude, as we continue to put in place measures geared towards the containment of the virus, we must continue.
That is the chairperson of the Council of Governors, Wycliffe Oparanya, giving the status update on the preparedness of counties to deal with the coronavirus. Oparanya says that 26 counties have complied with the provision of 300 beds in the counties, and of course it is an ongoing process. But just a quick update: the Ministry of Health is reporting that 278 people have tested positive for COVID-19 today. This is according to the latest results from samples taken over the last 24 hours. 3,053 people were tested for COVID-19. Of course, this brings the total number of confirmed cases to 8,528, and there are 2,593 people who have recovered from this disease, but 169 have succumbed to COVID-19. More details will be made available to you. Let us take a look at other matters now. Police in Narok are investigating the murder of two young boys aged 14 and 15 years who were herding their cows inside Mau Forest in Narok South. Narok County Commissioner Samuel Kimiti, while confirming the incident, said one victim was slashed to death with a machete, while the other was shot with an arrow. Meanwhile, residents of Moy's Bridge town are living in fear following an alleged spate of children abduction and killings by unknown people.
Residents of Narok South, Narok County are still coming to terms with the horrific murder of two boys who met their death under unclear circumstances. Narok County Commissioner Samuel Kimiti says one boy was slashed to death with a panga and the other one was killed with arrows.
Wazazi wao wakaripoti hiyo maneno asubuhi na pia wakaungana kwenda kuwatafuta katika huo msitu wa Mau, na wakati walipokuwa wanatafuta, kwa bahati mbaya wakawapata wakiwa wamekufa, wakiwa mmoja amekatwa na upanga na mwingine alikuwa amepigwa mshale.
Committee issued a stern warning to those who jeopardize efforts to have peace in the region that they will face full force of the law.
Hii mambo imefanyika wakati tumekuwa tukijaribu kutafuta amani katika eneo hilo. Mnafahamu ya kwamba tumekuwa na mikutano ya amani kufuatia kamati yetu ya security ya county, na hata National Peace Building kutoka ile ya wizara yetu ya Nairobi wamekuja hapa na community bill waka sign a peace accord.
Meanwhile, residents of Mosbridge Town along Trans Nzoia and Uasin Gishu counties are living in fear over spate of children abduction and killings by unknown people. The residents said increased insecurity has seen cases of children disappearance on the rise, among other sexual violence.
Tunalani hicho kitendo kwa sababu hatusaidiki. Mambo imeharibika, uchambazi huko mwingi sana. Ulevi huko juu. Tunapokimbilia mahali popote tumekosa. Hivi machusi tumekuwa tena mtoto amepikwa hapa msituni hapa juu. Tulipohita hata assistant chief alipochukua jukumu hatukuweza kusaidiwa.
A month ago, a 12-year-old girl was abducted and 3 weeks later, her skeleton body was found in a maize plantation. Police records in the area indicate that since the start of the year, more than 5 children have been abducted and killed in the area.
Hapa Mosbridge kumekuwa na visa, watoto wamewawa, na hii maneno tayari imefikia serikali. Watoto especially watoto wasichana hawajapewa nafasi ya kuishi. Juzi mtoto alipatikana pale Mosbridge mifupa peke yake. Mtoto alipotea tu mysteriously. Akapatikana mifupa yake pale na mtoto akawawa hivyo. Hilo jambo limesungumziwa. Hivi karibuni pia mtoto mwingine alipatikana anauza mboga hii wakati ya quarantine hii wakati ya COVID-19. Watoto wako nyumbani hawana mahali pa kwenda.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Timothy Kipnoso.
The Migori County Assembly has allocated 4.1 million shillings towards the purchase of coffins in the 2020-2021 financial year. Migori County Assembly's Budget and Appropriation Committee says the allocation is meant for locals grappling with the financial burden of arranging funerals for loved ones who have died due to natural disasters.
In what seems to be a strange move, Migori County Assembly has approved the 2020-2021 budget, which contains a rare allocation. The Department of Public Services Management is set to receive 3.6 million shillings for purchasing coffins. The Department of Environment and Disaster Management was also allocated 500,000 shillings towards the purchase of caskets.
The county government is given an opportunity to accord its members befitting send-off, and that is why we have budgeted for a total of 3.6 million. And the same is also anchored in the policies under Public Service Commission Act of 2012. So everything that has been done has been lawful, and it is a replica of what happens in the national government.
Migori County Assembly Budget and Appropriation Committee in its determination said the budget will help underprivileged families. The allocation will also benefit families of Migori County Assembly staff who die while in office.
The Department of Environment handles matters emergency in our county, and you find that we have certain instances like Nyatike, where mining is being carried out. We normally experience deaths, and when such instances occur, we normally give money for the bereaved.
In other matters, over 600 families in Cherangani, Trans Nzoia County are in dire need of assistance after their homes were destroyed by ongoing heavy rains in the region. The locals, who mostly are IDPs and living in deplorable conditions, have appealed to authorities to come to their rescue.
Misery best describes the faces of these residents of Cherangany constituency in Trans Nzoia County. Here, the residents are living in abject poverty after their mud-walled houses were destroyed by heavy rains a while ago. The residents are also nursing double tragedy as they are living as IDPs in the area following post-election violence.
Hakika tumepitia mambo mengi sana, tabu mingi sana katika area hii tangu machafuko ilipotoka. Tumekosa manyumba tunaishi katika ndani ya nyumba ya nyasi.
But every cloud has a silver lining. On this particular day, hope was on the horizon after local leaders presented them with non-food items such as iron sheets, blankets and mattresses, among other items. The residents applauding the gestures.
Sasa kati ya hizo familia 116, 15 ndio zimepewa shamba upande wa Makutano, na ndio hawa tumeweza kuwachukua siku ya leo. Hawa wameishi katika hali ya shida, manyumba yao hata saa hii ukienda pale ni makaratasi, na sisi ndio nilisema tukiwa wa Makutano ni lazima tuwafikirie wakiwa watu wetu.
Elsewhere, residents of Emabungo in Luanda sub-county have something to smile of following the launch of their first ever road since independence. The residents have had to endure the hardship of rocky and hilly environment, carrying their sick shoulder high to reach health facilities. Speaking during the launch of the road, Area MCA Moses Opole said with the introduction of devolution, residents have benefited much and urged the national government to allocate more funds to county governments.
Na tunataka serikali kuu ile 15% wamekuwa kipatia county government, because most of the devolved functions the national government zililetwa kwa county government. Why are they still holding money kwa national government na sisi huku chini hatuna hizo pesa? So zije huku mashinani ili governors waweze kupata nafasi ya kufanya miradi ambazo zinafaidi wananchi.
Okay. Sugarcane farmers from Western region have faulted local politicians for criticizing reforms in the sugar industry. Led by the Kenya Alliance of Sugarcane Farmers Organization chairperson Saulo Busolo, the farmers claimed political leaders are interfering with the process of reviving sugar mills in the region. Busolo said the reforms will see ban of brown sugar imports and suspension of trading licenses in a move to deal with influx of cheap sweetener in the domestic market. According to sugarcane farmers, the move will address policy issues in the competitive sugar industry.
The implication of all these reforms that the government has embarked upon of late are they address public policy issues with regard to competitiveness of the Kenyan sugar industry. They also address the policy of productivity. They address production issues. They address efficiency and competition issues in the industry. We believe they are going to resolve a myriad of farmer problems that we have faced in the past.
A family in Kisii County is seeking the support of well-wishers in raising 1.8 million shillings for the treatment of their kin. Dominic Obwongo Birika has been on endoscopic therapy for more than a decade after he accidentally consumed acidic liquid while on duty at a sugar factory.
The life of Dominic Obwongo Birika hangs in the balance. He needs 1.8 million shillings for specialized treatment abroad. In 2008, Dominic accidentally consumed a poisonous liquid. At that time, he was a casual laborer at a sugar factory in Western Kenya. The substance was acidic, corroding with his upper food canal system. Dominic, aged 38, cannot swallow food. He feeds through the tubes.
Iko na numbers yani kubwa kidogo ili ipanue ile moyo ikuwe sawa. Naingisha mpaka inamalizika ndani. Ndio tena natoa. Kufika hapa tena ikakataa. Hii mipira wanaona ni kidogo, ni nyembamba, lakini ikakataa kabisa. Mwisho sasa nikatopolewa shimo, nikaekea hii mpira.
The family is appealing to well-wishers to come to their rescue.
Naomba ikiwa itawezekana tupate msaada wa maisha yake ipate kuendelea. Naomba tu wahisani wale ambao wanaweza kutukubalia watusaidie ili aweze kulinda watoto wake, kwa sababu amepata ako na watoto 4 na wako kwa shule.
Kuna chakula ambaye anahitaji. Anatakiwa apate maziwa. Hata ng'ombe yenye tulikuwa nayo tuliuza, hatuna ng'ombe ya kukamua. Lazima apate maziwa atumie, apate mayai, na kuna chakula singine kama matunda ya siagwe alafu akule. Na hii hatuna.
You can send donations to 0787260004. The number once again is 0787260004. Irene Mchuma Udim, Channel 1.
Let's take a look at other matters where scientists have warned that doctors may be failing to diagnose a potentially serious string of brain disorders linked to the coronavirus. Severe neurological complications, including inflammation, psychosis, and delirium, were discovered in 43 cases of patients with COVID-19 by researchers at the University College of London. There are now almost 11.8 million confirmed coronavirus cases globally and more than 540,000 deaths.
We start in Africa, where the African Development Bank, AFDB, has said that 49 million Africans could be pushed into extreme poverty by the coronavirus pandemic. The AFDB said on Tuesday that West and Central Africa stand to be the most hit by the economic slump. The bank projects that the economy will rebound from the pandemic slump in 2021. Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa has sacked Health Minister Obadiah Moyo over inappropriate conduct. Last month, Moyo was arrested on charges of corruption and abuse of office in connection with a coronavirus equipment procurement scandal, but was later released on bail. He has been accused of awarding 3 contracts for drugs, testing kit and protective equipment to a company that had failed the vetting process. Severe neurological complications, including inflammation, have been discovered in 43 cases of patients with COVID-19 by researchers at University College London. The outcome is worrying experts of a possible mental disorder associated with the novel coronavirus. Currently, there are almost 11.8 million confirmed cases globally and more than 540,000 deaths. The Australian state of Victoria has confirmed 134 new cases of coronavirus in the past 24 hours after closing borders. A 6-week lockdown is in place in Melbourne. Mumbai, one of India's biggest coronavirus hotspots, has become the country's first city to open up testing to everyone. Until now, complex rules have meant that testing was mostly restricted to those who have symptoms or are high risk and required a doctor's prescription. The United States has officially notified the United Nations Secretary General of the country's withdrawal from the World Health Organization, even as it grapples with nearly 3 million cases of coronavirus. California and Texas have reported more than 10,000 new cases in a day, but President Donald Trump says he thinks the U.S. is in a good place. The total number of cases of the novel coronavirus in Russia passed 700,000 as the country reported 6,562 new infections in the past 24 hours. The country's coronavirus crisis response center said 173 people had died from the virus overnight, taking the official death toll to 10,667. Australia is issuing travel warnings for Romania and Moldova because of the worsening coronavirus situation in those countries and clusters in Austria involving people arriving from the region, the government said. Purity Museo, Channel 1 News.
You are watching Channel 1 Lunchtime News. We are taking a very short break. Don't go anywhere. Business news is coming up next.
What happens when you introduce rice farming to a society that has been fishing for the better part of their lives? The story at the Lower Kuja irrigation scheme is finally changing.
Tunakuja kutwanga mchele alafu wanatupako mchele na pesa kidogo ya kujisaidia.
As the once upon a time fishermen of Nyatike find their way into the history books of rice producers in the country.
Na huko baharini tulikuwa tunaweza enda na samaki ukose samaki kabisa na ukuje bila hata shilingi moja.
Watch it on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Hey, asante sana. You know, they say, if you want it, you work for it. I still can't believe my eyes. Why? What is wrong with your eyes? What are they telling you?
Julia.
Yes.
Julia.
Yes, useme kile unataka kusema.
Define some things more.
Sisia, I've got you, my brother. Hey, and you can strike because you cannot eat within the school compound. You low-class people have issues.
You thought I wouldn't find out, didn't you? How dare you people mistreat another teacher? A teacher who is only here trying to help you drive out ignorance. Everyone down!
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
Welcome back. Let us take a look at some business news now. Digital lenders have criticized the recent Central Bank of Kenya directive restricting unregulated lenders from listing defaulters at the Credit Reference Bureau, saying the move will only reduce gains made in widening financial inclusion. The Digital Lenders Association spokesperson Kevin Mutiso attributes high interest rate on loans on operational costs in the digital lending environment.
Digital lenders have long been accused of charging high interest rates on loans, with Central Bank Governor Dr. Patrick Njoroge at one time branding them as a flea in the economy due to their predatory lending tactics. The Central Bank in April barred digital lenders from listing defaulters at the credit reference bureaus, a move that lenders now say has exposed them to defaults. Digital Lenders Association of Kenya spokesperson Kevin Mutiso said the exorbitant interest charges are due to high operation costs, which can only be recovered after fifth lending of the same customers. In a statement, Mutiso said, quote, "However, these meaningful gains could be eroded if we put a blunt face to the complementary role digital mobile lenders play and start seeing players as bad competitors." Sadly, the digital lending model has been widely criticized because most of us have not understood how lenders operate and the environment in which they operate, end of quote. He said the fact is that digital lenders operate in a totally different environment compared to commercial banks makes their model very independent, and therefore pricing of their products cannot be compared. The digital lenders warn that any attempt to curtail their operations will roll back gains made to widen financial inclusion, adding that the sector has been complementing the role played by commercial banks. However, Central Bank Governor Dr. Patrick Njoroge said the regulator is drafting a regulatory framework for digital lenders to formalize the sector. Benson Rioba reporting for Channel 1 Business.
The National Irrigation Authority has taken over the management of the 10,000-acre model farm at the Galana Kulalu Food Security Project after the exit of Israel contractor Green Arava. The National Irrigation Authority is seeking 600 million shillings from the government to complete the model farm, which is 85% done, then hand it over to the private sector for production. As Betty Kiptum narrates, the cash is expected to fund irrigation infrastructure on the model farm.
A contract spat between Green Arava and the National Irrigation Authority has seen works on the 10,000-acre model farm that was initially slated to be completed in 2017 stall. While the Israeli farm was seeking extra cash to complete the project, the National Irrigation Authority insists the contractor failed to honor the deal by not completing it within the agreed time, hence should be penalized. Interventions to resolve the contract impasse seem to have failed when construction of supportive irrigation infrastructure was 85% complete. This has prompted the National Irrigation Authority to take over and is asking the National Treasury to offer 600 million shillings to complete the remaining 15% of the project.
We need about between 600 and 900 million to have the whole 10,000 acres the way it was conceived to be.
I think what is needed is goodwill to now have private sector practitioners, farmers, to produce.
The National Irrigation Authority is currently utilizing the installed irrigation infrastructure comprising of 20 center pivots covering an area of 3,300 acres and 1,800 acres under drip irrigation system for production of maize and other high-value crops. The authority says it has rehabilitated the intake after it was destroyed by floods of May 2018 and installed 4 pumps at the intake. The area targeted for progressive cropping was 3,500 acres, with 3,000 acres under center pivot and 500 acres under drip irrigation. About 2,650 acres have already been cropped and a demonstration farm of 10 acres planted. Of the 10 acres, 5 acres have been cropped. The crops planted in the demonstration farm are bananas, mangoes, cashew nuts, citrus, palm and pineapples. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
And in sports, Chelsea strengthened their position on the English Premier League log after beating Crystal Palace 3-2 in an entertaining encounter at Selhurst Park. Olivier Giroud, Christian Pulisic and Tammy Abraham netted Chelsea's goals as Palace scored through Wilfred Zaha and Christian Benteke. Meanwhile, Jamie Vardy's late equalizer gave Leicester City a vital point to keep their Champions League hopes on track and end Arsenal's recent winning streak after settling for a 1-1 draw. Tonight, 4 matches are on the card, and Manchester City and Liverpool in action against Newcastle and Brighton respectively. And in Italy, AC Milan came from 2 goals down to beat title-chasing Juventus 4-2 at San Siro in an Italian Serie A match that was played last night. Juventus had a chance to go 10 points clear at the top after second place Lazio also lost 2-1 to bottom side Lecce earlier. After an eventful first half, Milan scored 4 unanswered second half goals, having gone 2-0 down to Juventus. Strikes from Andre Rabiot and Cristiano Ronaldo. Ibrahimovic's 62nd minute penalty offered hope before Frank Kessie and Rafael Leao completed a 5-minute turnaround. Ante Rebic added a 4th to secure a memorable victory with 10 minutes remaining. And that does it for us for this edition of Channel 1 Lunchtime News. And just a quick recap on the latest statistics from the Ministry of Health. COVID-19, out of 3,053 samples tested in the past 24 hours, 278 have been confirmed positive for COVID-19. This brings the total number of confirmed cases to 8,528. The Ministry of Health reporting that 89 recoveries today. That is good news. 2,593 have so far been discharged, and there are 2 fatalities reported today. My name is Edward Kabasa. Thank you very much for joining us. More news on our website and on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. Good afternoon.
Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design,